My new neighbor welcomed me with a smile, then I overheard her whisper, "She'll never fit in here." Days later, my name disappeared from the neighborhood group chat, and I stopped getting invites to events. Furious, I spread a fake secret about myself, and within hours, it reached everyone. At the next HOA meeting, I stood up and said, "Funny, I only told one person." My neighbor's face turned white as the room fell silent. I moved into a pretty neighborhood in Charleston, South Carolina with my husband, Mark, about 5 months ago. We were tired of city chaos in Atlanta and wanted something quieter, slower. Charleston seemed like a good fit. The houses were gorgeous, lots of history, close to the water, and people seemed friendly at first. Right after we unloaded our last box, this woman from next door, Olivia, showed up with a pie. I remember thinking, wow, Southern hospitality is real. She was all smiles, super chatty, and seemed to know everything about everyone on the block. She told me about the neighborhood group chat on WhatsApp, where people organized everything, yard sales, parties, even who had the best lawn guy. I thought it was sweet of her to invite me in right away. She added me to the chat, and for the first couple weeks, everything felt normal. People waved when I walked the dog. I got invited to a backyard barbecue. Someone even dropped off a welcome card. I really thought we were fitting in fine. But then, things got weird. One morning, I was planting some flowers in the front yard, and Olivia was on her porch, talking to another neighbor, Margaret, I think. I was crouched behind a bush, so they didn't see me. And I heard Olivia say, real soft, "She'll never fit in here." It hit me like a punch to the gut. I just froze. Then I pretended I didn't hear anything and went inside. I didn't tell Mark right away. I thought maybe I was being sensitive or took it out of context. But after that day, things changed. Fast. I stopped getting invites. The group chat went quiet on my end. I checked, yep, I was removed from the chat. Just gone. No explanation. I texted Olivia. No reply. I texted another neighbor who I'd talked to before. She read the message. Never responded. I told Mark a few days later. I was crying, trying to act like I wasn't. He was furious, wanted to march over and confront someone. But I told him no. I needed to understand what was happening. I knew it was Olivia. She was the common thread. She was the one who added me. She was the one I trusted first. If I was getting iced out, it probably started with her. And if she could spread things about me behind my back, maybe I could beat her at her own game. So I made something up. Something harmless, kind of silly, but just weird enough to stick. I casually told Olivia, when we ran into each other at the mailbox, back in college I used to date a guy who was wanted by the FBI. It didn't last, obviously. But yeah, wild times. I laughed it off like it was nothing. She gave me that weird tight-lipped smile and said, "Oh wow, that's something." I went back inside. I didn't tell anyone else. Not Mark. Not a soul. Within 24 hours, 2 women I hadn't even met yet came up to me at the grocery store and said, "So, what's this about your FBI ex?" I played dumb. Said, "Huh? What are you talking about?" They smiled awkwardly and walked off. But I knew. I knew. Only one person knew. Olivia. I waited, watched as the neighborhood turned cold again. No hellos. No waves. Some people literally crossed the street when I walked the dog. So I waited until the monthly HOA meeting. The meetings were always in the little community room near the pool. Everyone went, mostly to complain about dogs barking or kids running through gardens. But this one, I came prepared. I wore a simple black dress, nothing flashy, just clean. I brought nothing but my phone and a water bottle. I sat right in the front. The meeting dragged on like usual. Potholes, fence repairs, noise complaints. And then the president said, "Anything else?" I stood up. "Hi," I said. "I'm new. Most of you probably know me as the one who used to date a wanted criminal, right?" Some chuckles. Some gasps. Olivia shifted in her seat. "I just want to clear something up. That story? Total lie. I made it up." People looked confused. A few people glanced at each other. And you know what's funny? I only told one person. One, at the mailbox. I didn't even say her name. I didn't have to. You could feel the silence. Olivia's face went pale. I mean white. Like she'd seen a ghost. She opened her mouth, probably to deny it, but I cut her off. I'm not here to make a scene, I said. But I moved here hoping for community. Instead, I got whispering, side eyes, and exclusion. I just wanted to know where it was coming from. Then I sat back down. Dead. Silence. The HOA president awkwardly cleared his throat and moved on. People were visibly uncomfortable. A couple people wouldn't look me in the eye. But a few actually looked at me like I was a real person for the first time. I didn't go to the after-meeting social. I went home. Mark was waiting up. He asked, "How did it go?" I said, "She knows I know." That's enough for now. The next day, 2 people waved to me when I walked the dog. The day after that, a woman I'd never spoken to came over with cookies and said, "I think you're brave." Olivia? Still next door. But now she looks at me like she's afraid I might speak again. I haven't decided what to do next. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. But I learned something. If you want to catch a liar, give them something to lie about. The days after the HOA meeting felt different. Not better. Not worse. Just quieter. Like the whole neighborhood was holding its breath, waiting to see what I'd do next. Some folks started being polite again. Nothing major. A few waves, some tight smiles. The ones who avoided me before weren't exactly rushing over with casseroles, but I wasn't invisible anymore. Olivia, though? She was rattled. She stopped her morning jogs. Her perfect little porch, usually decorated with seasonal wreaths and Instagram-ready flower pots, sat plain for the first time. No flags. No pumpkins. Just silence. She didn't speak to me. Didn't even look my way. But I knew she was watching. Then things got weird. One night, around midnight, I was upstairs in bed reading when I heard a noise outside. Not loud, but enough to make me get up. I peeked through the curtains and saw someone standing near our trash bins. Just standing there. At first I thought it was a raccoon or something. But no, this was a person. Mark was out of town for work, so I grabbed my phone and crept downstairs. I flicked the porch light on. The figure flinched and darted away. I ran out onto the porch. Too dark to see much, but I caught the shape of someone slipping between the hedges that separated our yard from Olivia's. I didn't sleep much that night. The next morning, I checked the bins. Nothing strange. But when I looked closer, I saw something shiny near the edge, tucked under a leaf. A single gold earring. It looked expensive. Not costume jewelry. And I'd seen earrings like that before. Olivia wore a pair just like them to the HOA wine night. I didn't say anything. Not yet. But the weirdness didn't stop. A few days later, I walked out to find a bag of dog poop thrown in our mailbox. Not on it. In it. Like someone had gone out of their way. I reported it to the HOA. They said they'd look into it. Classic. Then came the rumors. Not whispers. Straight up accusations. I got texts from unknown numbers. Things like, "I heard you're suing your last HOA. Typical. So you run scams in every city or just here? You should be ashamed. We're a community." I lost it. I posted in the community Facebook group, the one Olivia couldn't kick me out of. If anyone's wondering, no, I'm not suing anyone. I didn't scam anyone. I'm just trying to live in peace. But if lies and trash in my mailbox are how this neighborhood handles newcomers, then maybe the problem isn't me. Boom. 37 likes. A few heart emojis. A couple neighbors messaged privately saying they believed me. But no one came out publicly. Not yet. Then, I found something on Reddit. A post in r/homeowners from hell. It was vague, but it screamed familiar. Our new neighbor is trying to manipulate the whole neighborhood. She made up lies about our community, tried to embarrass someone in a public meeting. She pretended to be friendly at first. Now she's stalking people. Lock your doors. Posted under a throwaway account. But the style? The tone? It reeked of Olivia. That's when I knew she was trying to turn the internet against me too. I took screenshots. Saved everything. Then I got bold. I made my own Reddit post. In the same subreddit. I didn't use names or locations. Just the facts. I told the story. The fake secret. The gossip. The midnight trash bin creeper. And it blew up. Hundreds of comments. People saying, classic HOA drama, your neighbor is toxic, and OP, I hope you torch her reputation with sunlight. But one comment stood out. Hey OP, does she drive a white Lexus? Floral wreath on the front door? I think I know exactly who you're talking about. She did something similar in my cousin's neighborhood 2 years ago in Savannah. I stared at that comment for 10 straight minutes. My hands started shaking. I DM'd the person. Asked for details. They replied. Fast. Her name isn't even Olivia. It's Elise. She changed it when they moved. There was a whole issue with false harassment claims and HOA misuse of funds. Google, Elise Porter HOA Savannah scandal. So I did. And there it was. Savannah homeowner drama turns ugly. Woman accused of weaponizing HOA rule, same face. Same earrings. Same person. I stared at the screen, heart racing. I wasn't just dealing with a gossiping neighbor. I was dealing with someone who had done this before. She wasn't just mean. She was dangerous. And now, I had proof. I haven't shown it to anyone yet. Not even Mark. But the file's sitting on my desktop, labeled oliviatruth.pdf. I'm waiting, watching, planning my next move. This isn't over. Not even close. So now I knew. Olivia was actually Elise Porter, a woman with a history of stirring up HOA chaos in other towns. Savannah wasn't the first. That Reddit user sent me more links. Local articles, old community forum screenshots, even a Facebook post from a woman in Florida who said Elise had tried to get her fined over unauthorized flower colors. I was shaking, but not from fear. From focus. Because now this wasn't just personal. This was pattern behavior. And she had picked the wrong person this time. But here's where it got really wild. About 2 weeks later, a letter shows up in our mailbox. No return address. The envelope was cream-colored, fancy, like it came with wedding invitations. I opened it. Inside was a single piece of paper, typed. No signature. No names. Just this, you don't know who you're messing with. Drop it. Move, or things get worse. Mark had just gotten home from a business trip. He saw my face when he walked in and said, "What's going on?" I handed him the letter. He read it. He didn't say anything for a full minute. Then he said, "We're going to the police." I agreed. But quietly, I was already thinking 2 steps ahead. The officer at the station was polite, but not super hopeful. Without a threat of harm, it's not much. But document everything. If anything escalates, we'll be ready. So that's what I did. I made copies of the note. I saved the envelope. I set up cameras around the house, 2 facing the front yard, 1 covering the driveway, another by the back door. That night, I barely slept. I kept thinking, she's still doing it. She thinks she can scare me. But the cameras changed everything. For days later, around 3 a.m., one of them pinged my phone. Motion in the backyard. I opened the app and froze. There was a figure near the back fence. Same build. Same hair. Same hoodie I'd seen Elise, wear 100 times. She was holding something. A can. Spray paint? She took a step toward our shed, then stopped. Looked right at the camera. And ran. I downloaded the footage and showed Mark. He was done playing games. He emailed the HOA, the community security guy, even the police again. This time with proof. But then the real twist hit. As we were preparing to send the footage to a lawyer friend of Mark's, I got another email. This time from a name I didn't recognize, Rachel M. Subject line, "You're not the only one." The message said, "Hi, I saw your Reddit post. I think we have something in common. I used to live 2 blocks from Elise Porter in Savannah. She did the same thing to me, only I took her to court. We settled, but she left town a month later. I still have files. Want them?" I replied immediately. Yes, Yes, I wanted them. She sent over a full drive's worth of documents. HOA complaints, police reports, an affidavit from a woman who claimed Elise staged her own mailbox being smashed and blamed a neighbor. I opened one document and my jaw dropped. In it, Elise accused a woman of harassment, using the same phrases she later used in my Reddit DMs, word for word. That was my breaking point. I printed the documents, compiled screenshots, pulled footage. I didn't just want her exposed, I wanted her removed. But just when I thought I was about to deliver the final blow, another twist. At the next HOA meeting, before I could even speak, the HOA president stood up. He looked uncomfortable. And then he said, "We've received a formal complaint against you from a neighbor citing intimidation, online harassment, and falsifying public statements. Due to the complaint, we're suspending your HOA privileges pending an investigation." The room exploded into whispers. I laughed. Out loud. Because I knew. She got to them first. She was trying to flip the story again. Make me look like the bully. But this time, I wasn't walking away. Not with what I had. Not with the footage. The emails. The testimonies. I didn't stand up. I didn't say a word. I just smiled. Because I'd already mailed a package to the HOA board that morning. I had one more card to play. And it was about to hit their desks any second now. That night after the HOA meeting, I sat in my kitchen, phone buzzing with messages from neighbors, some curious, others gossipy, a few asking, "What's going on?" I didn't reply to anyone. I just waited. Because I knew what was coming. 2 days earlier, I'd mailed out a thick envelope to each member of the HOA board. Inside, a copy of Elise's Savannah court documents, screenshots of her Reddit smear post, photos of the spray paint can in her hand, the police report I filed, a written timeline of every shady thing she'd done since we moved in. I also included statements from 2 of her former neighbors, one of whom said Elise tried to excommunicate her from their book club because she wore jeans to church. Petty? Sure, but real. And part of a much bigger pattern. By the following Monday, the emails started. First from Jenna, the HOA secretary. "We had an emergency board meeting. Can you speak with us privately on Wednesday?" Then from the board president. "I want to personally apologize for the public statement made. We were unaware of the full context. On Wednesday, I walked into the meeting room with my head up and a USB drive in my hand. I didn't need to say much. Just played the backyard footage. No more talking." They nodded. A few looked embarrassed. One of them, Ron, he'd been one of Olivia/Elisa's biggest fans, actually looked down and said, "We made a mistake." I said, "Yeah, you did. But I'm not here to hold grudges. I just want things to be fair." They told me Elise had been contacted, that she would need to respond to a formal inquiry within 10 days or face HOA sanctions. And that's when things exploded. Day 1, her porch wreath disappeared. Day 3, a moving truck pulled into her driveway. Day 5, a for sale by owner sign went up. No announcement. No goodbye. No apology. She left. Just like that. But the story doesn't end there. A few days later, I got a knock at the door. It was one of the women who had once avoided me at the dog park. Her name was Melissa. She held a pie. Same kind Olivia brought when we first moved in. She said, "I owe you one. For speaking up." We were scared too. We all knew something was off about her. I invited her in. Mark and I sat with her for over an hour. By the end of it, we had our first real friend in the neighborhood. But it's not like everything magically turned perfect. People still stared sometimes. I wasn't completely off the hook either. One neighbor later asked, "Why didn't you just confront her directly in the beginning? Why the fake secret?" And yeah, they had a point. I played a game too. I set the trap. I pushed the story. I knew what I was doing. But I don't regret it. Because when people hide behind kindness and use smiles as weapons, you have to speak their language to expose them. And I did. She tried to erase me from the neighborhood. Instead, she erased herself.